If you finally decided to take that driving vacation in Europe, there's some things you really need to know to make your trip a little bit less stressful. While it's not that much different from driving in America, there are some key differences to know about, but if you can drive in America, you'll do just fine in Europe. Unless you're going to be going to the British Isles, you get to drive on the side of the road that you're used to driving on. They drive on the right side of the road in Europe, just like we do. Take time to learn what all of the signs are. It's really important to understand what the signs are. They are different from the signs we have, from the road signs to the speed limit signs, and some of these signs have meaning beyond just the words on the sign. The way I prepared for my first European trip was to go to the Wikipedia entry on European road signs and just kind of study them a little bit. Look through the countries you're going to go to and just understand them. You're not going to remember all of it, but at least you'll be familiarized with the different signs and the different rules. On the A roads, which is their equivalent of essentially an interstate or a highway, the big signs do not tell you which direction you're traveling in. They basically tell you the big city at the end of the road that you're traveling towards. So you have to understand the cities that you're traveling towards so you know which direction you're going to go whenever you get onto a road. Take some time to get to know what the right-of-way rules are over there, especially for roundabouts. In general, their right-of-way rules aren't much different from ours. The person on the right has the right-of-way unless the sign says otherwise, but there are some differences. I'm not going to get into the details here. There's plenty of really good resources available to you online. Google is your friend here. There's even some places that have quizzes that you can take if you're the kind of person that likes quizzes. I know that these things can seem like a lot, it can feel a little bit overwhelming, but trust me, it's not that complicated. It's no more complicated than it is here. You just need to take some time, familiarize yourself with the rules so that you don't find yourself in trouble over there. I put some links in the description for sites that you can access this information for the countries you plan on driving to. And while we're talking about rules, the left lane is for passing only. You do not ride in the left lane unless you are actively passing a vehicle to the right of you. This is a rule, this is the expectation, and this is how they drive. And the speed limit is not always obvious. You need to understand there are certain instances where the speed limit isn't posted by a sign with a number on it. For example, when driving into or out of a town, there is a rectangular sign that tells you are entering or leaving a city. When you drive past that sign, the speed limit is now 50 kilometers per hour, unless otherwise posted. That is just a rule that everybody understands. You will not necessarily see a sign telling you that the speed limit changed to 50. Also, you have to understand what the default speeds for specific types of roads are. The default speed for many roads is 130 or 120 kilometers an hour or 80 kilometers an hour, and it's not always posted. You just have to know what it is based on the type of road you're on. And then there will be further signs restricting speed on those roads or giving you guidance under certain weather conditions or traffic conditions. A key thing to understand is that it is only on the Autobahn, i.e. the A roads in Germany, where there is not a speed limit. No other countries in Europe have this allowance to drive as fast as you choose. So when you see this sign, it doesn't mean there's no speed limit. What it means is that it ends all of the previously signed restrictions. You are now at the default speed limit for the road that you're on. And one final rule to be aware of is there's no such thing as a right turn on red in Europe. That is an American invention, and it's a great one, but it doesn't exist over there. And hey, if you're enjoying this video and want to see more of our travel related videos, please click the subscribe button below. It really helps the channel. Alright, so let's talk about speed cameras. I have never seen anybody get pulled over on the side of the road for speeding in Europe. However, I have gotten multiple speeding tickets in Europe. The way they find speeders in Europe is by speed cameras. These cameras are ubiquitous. Pretty much any town you drive through will have multiple ones down the main thoroughfare, and they will take your picture and you will get a ticket in the mail, often months later, and you won't even remember why. These cameras are on all types of roads regardless of the size. One nice thing is that these tickets aren't particularly expensive. I think one of my tickets was 15 euros and the other one was 30 euros. I was able to pay at least one of them online. Another one I had to send a money order, so that was a little bit inconvenient. And if you are over there in a rental car, your rental company will charge you a $25 processing fee to send that ticket to you. As far as I can tell, a speeding ticket over there does not get reported to your American insurance company or go on your American driving record, but just be careful and trust me, there's a good chance you're going to get a ticket, but it makes for a nice souvenir. Gasoline is expensive in Europe. but the roads are very nice. And unlike in America, diesel fuel costs about the same as regular unleaded gasoline. One thing to be aware of is you have to understand the words for the type of gasoline that you're going to be using in the car that you rent. If you have a diesel car, you need to know what the local word for diesel is, otherwise you may mess that up. Many of the gasoline pumps are self-service and are credit card use only. A lot of them require a chip and PIN card, which is a really difficult thing to find from an American bank. And what that is you insert the chip and you have a PIN attached to it. A lot of American cards are what they call chip and signature, and often you have difficulty using the gas pumps there. So if you don't have a chip and PIN card, you're going to need to make sure that you can find gas stations that are attached to a convenience store with a cashier so that you can go inside to pay. And another expense that we need to discuss is toll. There's two different types of tolls you'll encounter in Europe. Some countries, like Austria and Switzerland, require you to buy a toll sticker, which allows you access to their highways. In Austria, you can buy a tourist sticker that's relatively inexpensive and it's good for a couple of weeks. In Switzerland, however, they only sell annual stickers. So if you want to drive in Switzerland, you're going to need to buy the sticker for the entire year. For 2023, the price of that sticker is around $45. So if you're going to be there for a week, that's really not too bad. But if you're going to be there for the day, that might change your plan. Germany has no tolls, but their gas tends to cost a little bit more. And in France and Italy, they have more what we're used to in America, where they have toll booths on specific roads. The tolls can get rather expensive. To be prepared and understand which lanes take cash and which lanes take credit, make sure that you have a credit card that's going to work with them. We have had problems in the past where our credit card didn't work. On our most recent trip, however, we had good luck with cards that allowed for tap to pay, but we always make sure we do have cash on hand in the event that a credit card doesn't work and we have to find a way to pay with cash. In any case, I would recommend that the first couple of times you go through a toll, you find the toll booth that has a cashier. That way, in the event you have a credit card that won't work for you, you can at least pay cash. Many of the parking lots in Europe are pay lots, and they tend to have self-service parking kiosks that you have to walk up to and pay to get a ticket for a specific amount of time. Again, make sure you have cash to pay for this if you don't have a credit card that'll work. Normally, these require a chip and PIN card, so if you don't have one, make sure you have enough cash to pay for your parking. Another thing to be aware of is that they tend to drive fast on small, windy roads. I like driving fast. I like windy roads. I am not comfortable driving as fast as they do on these small, windy roads. But no worries, you don't need to push yourself faster or pull over or anything like that. They'll find a time to pass you, and they'll pass you. Drive the speed you're comfortable to drive, and everything will work out just fine for you. Watch out for cows. Really, watch out for cows. There's a lot of cows, and sometimes they end up in the middle of the road. Make sure you understand the rules regarding international driving permits. Most countries in Europe allow an American to drive in their country. However, some do require you to have an international driver's permit. You can get these relatively inexpensively. We normally get one at AAA. Many people don't bother to get one. I think the only time anybody's going to ask to see one is if you're in an accident or if you get stopped for some sort of moving violation or something. But it's still best to just get one. They're not expensive, and that way it won't be a problem in the event that you need to have it. And one final thing that you need to know about driving in Europe is that it is the best way to get off the beaten path, away from the normal tourist areas, and go see really interesting and unique sights and attractions. If you want to learn more about driving in Europe, check out this other video about reasons why you should rent a car on your European vacation. Hopefully, I've been able to alleviate some of the stress or anxiety that you have about going on a driving vacation in Europe. In the end, as long as you pay attention and you're careful, you'll be just fine and you'll have a lot of fun.